So we're now on to our first dinner party. This is where we get all the couples come together for the first time as a group. So with everybody coming together, you're going to find out the good, the bad and the ugly. So fast forward to the dinner party. The first couple to come through those doors were Jess and PJ. These guys walked in side by side. They didn't touch each other. As you can see, this is just a friendship right now. The next couple to walk in were Thomas and Adrian. These two look well together, arm in arm. Thomas with his red little handbag, looking the part. He received a warm welcome from Jess, whilst Adrian and PJ introduced themselves to each other. When these guys got themselves comfortable, we then saw Thomas ask Jess a question.
You look incredible, Jess.
Oh, thank you, honey.
And are you happy?
Yeah.
Were you convinced? Because I wasn't. Her voice went up at least 4 octaves. That tells me she was lying. So she backpedaled by saying that we're just friends. We get on very well. We're just going to wait and see if it progresses. That's what she said. And with her saying that, you saw Thomas come out and say that their honeymoon wasn't a bed of roses. They've had their arguments, but they've resolved them as far as he's concerned. The next couple we saw walk through those doors were April and George. They got a great reception. Thomas looked at April, looked at George and thought, wow, he's handsome. Yeah, he went a bit doughy-eyed looking at George. The next couple to come through those doors were Shanita and Jordan. And these guys got a huge reception. Yep, a grand entrance. They were holding hands as they walked in, feeling very proud to be husband and wife. You also saw Jordan introduce Shanita as his wife. Hello everybody, here's my lovely wife. Her name's Shanita. Something like that, he said. This guy's proud, very proud, to have her as his wife and on his arm. When the rest of the couples were listening to their story of their wedding day, you could see Jess look very envious. She's wishing that she had that. And when it came to April and George, they mentioned that they had their ups and downs during the honeymoon and that their issues had been resolved. So continuing on, the next couple to walk through those doors were Lara and Richie. Again, they got a huge reception. George was overly excited to see Richie. Overly excited. These two seemed to have formed a great friendship. They were very excited to see each other. The first thing George said when he saw him was, "You took your time, mate." Yeah, these two were very excited to see each other. So much so that when Richie asked him how was his honeymoon, he couldn't help but say, "I've got so much to tell you." Yes, he couldn't wait but tell him everything that had happened.
I was at the bar, getting some drinks. I went back to the hot tub where we were, and I could have ripped the ring off my finger right there. She kissed a girl in the hot tub. She might have kissed another girl in the hot tub.
For someone that didn't want to get involved in any drama tonight, he definitely knows how to gossip. We then see him continue this same conversation with someone else.
How can I join you, James? I was just telling Richie, right? Yeah, I went to the party, had some drinks, came back and she kissed a girl in the hot tub. She kissed a girl? Yeah.
And that wasn't the end of it. This continued. But let me go back a bit. Let me rewind. Back to when they were in their hotel room and what he said in front of the camera.
April and I are very private people. Yes, there's going to be things that we want to talk about to other people, but I'll be completely respectful, and there's certain things that will stay very private between us, which is only the right thing to do.
Hang on. Did I mishear what he said? Was I hearing right? Let me rewind that again.
April and I are very private people. Yes, there's going to be things that we want to talk about to other people, but I'll be completely respectful, and there's certain things that will stay very private between us, which is only the right thing to do.
As we can see, George is not over this. He's still fuming. He's thinking whether he can trust her. He's also looking at her as Miss GB. She's out of his league. He has his own insecurities, as we all know. Moving on, the next couple to come through those doors were Whitney and Duca. Did you see those two? They had the biggest space between them. And as the expert said, you could drive a truck between those two. Oh dear. But nevertheless, they received a warm reception. At one point, we saw Duca talking to the rest of the group, and this is how it went.
More time than me, I'm jealous of you. What's wrong with you? I'm supposed to be the time the olive skinned one.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
Right now, Whitney looks repulsed by Duca.
As we saw, she hates the showmanship. But I also feel it's also his accent she doesn't like. He comes across too street-like for her. And she wants somebody with a bit more etiquette. That's my observation. But then, when you saw them getting dressed at the hotel before coming to the reception, they seemed quite amicable. I'm struggling to work out what's going on here. You know what? I hate the performance. It's all a performance to me. Because this is how she was in the hotel room earlier.
One thing that was annoying me so much about him is this, like, your perky penis.
Duca's doing a lot of Ducaing. I'm like learning to work with his Ducaism. But initially I was like, it's getting hit by a train. It's an adjustment.
And then she goes on to say this.
I'm not worried that Duca's going to be panicky Pete in front of everyone else. I just need him to not do that. Because if he's more mellow and more chill, I'll find him more attractive.
So does she or does she not like him? I'm confused. I don't know whether we're coming or going here. I'm getting mixed signals. She's trying to confuse us. So is he fake or is he not? Do you like him or do you not? Which one is it? With that being said, I'm going to leave her to ponder on that. So moving on, the next couple to come through those doors were Keisha and Kwame. These guys came in arm, looking the part. But I don't understand the sunglasses. Indoors, I don't understand people wearing sunglasses indoors. That irritates the hell out of me. I want to be able to see the whites of your eyes when I'm talking to you. But nevertheless, they got a great reception. And then you heard Thomas speak.
Will you Jules take the sunglasses off? Come on. You're not Beyonce. You might be Solange.
My sentiments exactly. The next interaction we saw was between Keisha and Kwame. And this is what happened.
Help yourself, Kwame. Very strong behaviour there. Gets himself a drink. Doesn't get her one.
Rude? Let me tell you, this guy may dress like a gentleman, but he has no etiquette whatsoever.
Is that how gentlemanly you are?
I'll take it.
No, sorry. I'll have a beer instead.
I can't put Prosecco on that.
No?
A beer is unbecoming. You can have it.
You should have just given it to me.
Unbecoming? A beer is unbecoming. But hang on a minute. But then you didn't have any manners to offer her your glass in the first place. Don't talk to me about unbecoming. You haven't got a clue what you're talking about. You're just coming out with verbal diarrhea. Trying to make yourself sound good.
All the time I get together, I never seen you beer.
Well, I was sitting there with my long empty hand because my husband decided to feed himself before he fed me.
Yeah. Deal with it.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. Did he actually say those words? Deal with it. Did you also notice that Whitney was paying attention to what was going on with those two? She's nobody's fool. I could tell you that now. She's nobody's fool. And I'm not one to always agree with her. No, she irritates the hell out of me. But in this case, she's seen something. Same way I'm seeing something. And what comes in my head right now, when I watch that clip, with her wearing her sunglasses, it makes me question, did they have an argument before they stepped through those doors? For her to hide her eyes the way she has. That's my question. So it kicked off before they even entered the room, but they came in arm to show a presence, to show that they're together and to fool everybody else. That's what I saw. Fast forward, we then saw a conversation that happened between Whitney and Keisha, and Whitney was talking about Duca being fake again, but the way she described it was very much, he can be chivalrous one minute when he's in front of the camera, but behind closed doors, he's nothing of the sort. So this is where she talks about him being real and him being fake. Yeah, which one is it? It's interesting to hear her speak of it from this perspective, the chivalry and then the non-chivalry. That makes me question it now and how she's seeing things. And she also described him as a class clown. He always has to be the loudest one in the room. That's the way she described him. Now, that works for some people. For some others, they prefer somebody more mellow, which is what she's trying to say here. I get where she's coming from, in a way. It's the rudeness that I can't deal with, and the facial expressions and the rolling of the eyes. I can't deal with all of that. That irritates me, and she's not putting herself across correctly to get her point across. I give up on this conversation. Anyway, fast forward. The next conversation we saw went back to the April and George situation. So this is what we heard.
George had said that they were having a really good time on the honeymoon, and one night the people had kissed another girl that they were having a drink with.
And if that wasn't enough, here's another conversation.
Was she looking for you to join, or was it just a drunken kiss thing?
I think it's a drunken kiss. I didn't really give it a chance.
Just get you involved, right? That's just polite.
George. My girl's going to hit the roof when she hears about this. She is not going to be happy. This is what she was thinking before going to the dinner party.
I think the dinner party's going to be interesting. If there is drama, I'll get involved. I've had enough drama with my husband, so yeah, I'll just quietly sit and observe.
She's going to be eating her words. It was shortly after that we saw Zoe walk through the doors. And you know what? I nearly forgot about Zoe. She got a great reception from everybody. And where's Jenna? But we later find out that Jenna's got COVID. Yeah. She's come down with corona. That's what she said. So everybody was like, oh, okay. So you haven't split up then? Yeah. So she was flying solo that evening. However, with Jess finding out this information that she was still together with Jenna, this was her reaction.
I feel like everyone's locked up. What do you think? Just find it a bit annoying.
Poor PJ, having to hear those words come out of her mouth, and him sitting right there next to her, not knowing how to react to this information. It was shortly after that dinner was served. So this is where I'll leave it for now. Part 2 is shortly to follow. If you like what you heard, please like, comment and subscribe. Till next time.